Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern, Ned Reynolds, halfway point of the week. I know it's got a pretty important day on the agenda when you bring your old dusty book of facts in. And what do we got in here today?
Well, this one is celebrated not only in the sport of baseball, but around the world. It was a significant day because it was 79 years ago today. The Brooklyn Dodgers opened their season at home playing the old Boston Braves. Ebbets Field, Brooklyn, April 15th, 1947. And a crowd about 26,000, not a full house at Ebbets Field, but nonetheless a pretty good opening day crowd. And they were there not only to see their Brooklyn Dodgers, but many of them, in fact, I'd say the vast majority, to see this player on first base who was wearing number 42 and making his debut, named Jackie Robinson, the first player of color ever in the modern baseball era of the game, and indeed that was his debut and the rest is history. He didn't get any hits that day, he did score a run, but Jackie Robinson making his debut. Actually, to be historically correct, that was because this is the first official Major League game that he played in. He had played at Ebbets Field 4 days before in an exhibition game against the Yankees, and that had attracted a crowd of about 35,000. So it wasn't his first appearance there, but it was as an official member of Major League Baseball.
Big day, and I'm glad you brought your book of facts in. I think I probably would have remembered that one without it. And on the baseball scene tonight, the Cardinals are going to try and break that 3-game losing streak.
They finally did last night. They knocked off the Cleveland Guardians in 10 innings, and they must have to admit they were fortunate, but that's part of baseball. You play the breaks as well. Game was 5-4 in favor of the Guardians in the 9th inning. Cleveland hit, or I should say the Cardinals hit what looked like the third out, bouncing ball to second, error. Bounced off the wrist of the Cleveland second baseman, set the stage, a couple more runners got on base, and then Yosel Pozo hit that double down the right field line to tie the game at 5. Went to extra innings, and the ghost runner was able to score from third on a sacrifice fly by Nathan Church, and the Cardinals win the game by a score of 6-5, and they break their losing streak at 3 games.
How do you feel about the ghost runner rule?
I hate it. I think it's
sure
ridiculous.
Makes things quicker, I'll tell you that much. No more 13-inning games.
Yeah, that's part of the mystique of baseball.
Yeah,
though,
I get it.
No, you have to understand how the game is played because the strategy is all different when you don't have a ghost runner on second base. I think it's a gimmick that should go.
Well, we'll see what happens. Royals also have a pretty tough test this week and weren't able to pull one out yesterday.
No, they had the lead 1-0, but as usual, as has been the case this year, the Kansas City offense went to sleep in Detroit. The Royals had a 1-0 lead through 7 innings, but in the last of the 8th inning, the Tigers came up with a couple of runs and beat the Kansas City Royals 2-1. Royals just can't get those big hits. I do think they'll be coming because their lineup is too strong not to, but for the time being anyway, the Royals are under 500 and struggling.
Well, there's a couple things. Bobby Witt Jr. is stranded on base 90+% of the time. Vinny and Salvi are asleep, so I think they're going to have to do something with that order.
It'll change because in the spring of the season, as history will show, the offense is way behind the pitching. Pitching's way ahead of it. So I think probably that offense will be waking up here before too much longer.
Hopefully they can. Maybe a little change to fire things up, Ned. Even though they had a very storied football season last year, Iowa still looks like they might have to pay the piper.
I'm afraid they will, too, but this doesn't occur with last year. It happened a couple of years ago. It's an ongoing NCAA investigation. But Iowa football and Coach Kirk Ferentz been found to be in violation of the transfer tampering rule. It occurred in 2023. Okay, what happened was Iowa had some I can't call them illegal, but they were conversations with a player who was going to enter the transfer portal before he did so, and that is a no-no. I think Iowa was probably ignorant of the rule, but be that as a case, that illegal contact is going to cost Iowa 4 victories that they had in the 2023 season, and they'll be fined, and probably the coach will be suspended for a game and so forth and so on, and a probation will be forthcoming. But Iowa football's run a pretty clean program. Coach Ferentz is a very strict rules man, and this is something of a surprise. However, it did happen, and the Iowa Hawkeyes will pay the price.
So we got the NBA playoffs underway. The play-in rounds began this week. How are things looking?
Well, last night the Charlotte Hornets and the Miami Heat took part in a dandy. Went to overtime, and Charlotte won it 127-126 over Miami, playing in Charlotte, and that ends Miami's season. Miami Heat packing their bags, and they're headed home. Charlotte Hornets will get to play again. In the meantime, out west, the Portland Trailblazers went to Phoenix and knocked off the Phoenix Suns. Portland won 14, Phoenix won 10. Now, obviously, Portland, they go on and they continue onto the main field, while the Phoenix Suns get a chance to play again. That's the way the play-in series works. If you're the 8th seed or 7th seed, doesn't matter, the loser of that game gets a second chance. When 9 plays 10, there is no second chance. Anyway, this was 7 versus 8, and Phoenix will be playing again on Friday. But the Portland Trailblazers, they are into the main field starting on Saturday.
And we got our Cards out on the road this week. Where are they at and who are they facing?
They played Wichita. This is a 6-game series with the Wichita Wind Surge. And the Cardinals went in the depths of a 5-game losing streak, and you can make it 6 in a row now. This has to be very disturbing, I would think, to the Cardinals. And they lose the game 18-6 to Wichita. Wichita is only a mediocre team, and they come up with a whole lot of runs. And the victim is one of the St. Louis Cardinals' top prospects in the minor leagues, Liam Doyle from the University of Tennessee, their number 1 draft choice last spring, I should say. And he made it through less than 1 inning. He started the game, pitched 2/3 of an inning, gave up 3 runs and 4 hits, was getting hit hard, got out of there, and the relief corps did no better. The score was 8-0 going into the 4th inning. Wichita had the lead, and then the Wind Surge came up with 9 more runs. 18-6, Wichita defeats the Springfield Cardinals. They will play again later today.
Ned, stay dry, my man. I know that's tough, but I'll see you tomorrow.